The night sky above Earth was quiet. Stars glowed like tiny sparks in the black ocean of space. But far beyond them, near the edge of the solar system, something strange was happening. An old satellite, forgotten for almost 50 years, suddenly came alive. Its antennas turned slowly, its lights flickered, and a faint signal pulsed into the dark. At first no one noticed. Then in the early hours of morning, the signal reached Earth's deep space listening center in Iceland. The sound was not normal. It was not from any human satellite. It was a repeating pulse, steady, slow, and cold. At first, the computers marked it as interference, but when the system's AI analyzed the signal, it found something impossible. Hidden deep in the static were human words, broken, twisted, but there. Help fleet destroyed, enemy coming. Technician Mia Torres froze as she read the decoded message on her screen. Her hands trembled. She replayed the audio again and again. Each time the voice grew clearer, not robotic, not alien. Human, she called her supervisor. Within minutes, the message was sent to Earth Space Command, a military base in orbit above the planet. Commander Aiden Cross stood in front of the holographic screen, watching the signal loop. He was a tall man in his 40s, with sharp eyes and a calm face. The kind of man who had seen war, but still believed in hope. "This can't be real," said his second-in-command. "Captain Liara Voss, it's a prank maybe, or old data from some probe." Aiden shook his head slowly. "The coordinates are near Jupiter. That area hasn't had any human craft in decades. And listen again, the voice? It's not synthetic." The message repeated through the speakers. "Help fleet destroyed, enemy coming." Then a strange thing happened. The signal changed. A faint whisper followed, like someone trying to speak through wind and fire. "Help us before they find you." The room went silent. The lights dimmed slightly. Every officer looked at Aiden. "Before they find us," whispered Liara. "Who's they?" Within hours, the message reached the United Earth Council. Scientists, politicians, and military officers gathered in a massive chamber above New Geneva. Aiden stood before them, explaining the data. The message came from a point near Jupiter's orbit. The satellite that transmitted it is not one of ours. It's old, maybe older than human space travel itself. One of the council members laughed. "Commander Cross, are you saying aliens are using human code to ask for help?" "I'm saying," Aiden replied firmly, "someone or something that knows human communication is trying to reach us." The council erupted in debate. Some shouted that it was fake, a digital ghost. Others warned it could be a trap, a lure from an unknown enemy. And a few believed it was a warning, a cry from survivors of something much worse. Back at Space Command, the research teams worked non-stop. They discovered something new hidden inside the message, a DNA pattern encoded in the signal itself. When decoded, it matched human DNA. Dr. Hannah Sorrell, the chief scientist, looked at Aiden in disbelief. "This code belongs to humans, but it's altered. It's as if the sender was human, but not completely." "What do you mean, not completely?" Aiden asked. "I mean, Commander," she said slowly, "whoever sent this, they were part human, part something else." Aiden stared at the screen. The signal played again, this time with static whispers and the same desperate tone. "Help, we are lost. The enemy feeds on light. Do not let them see your sun." He felt a cold wave pass through his chest. For the first time in years, he felt fear. 3 days later, Aiden stood on the command bridge of the Starship Horizon, Earth's most advanced warship. Outside the window, the curve of Earth glowed blue and peaceful, unaware of the strange darkness waiting beyond. Captain Liara joined him. "The council finally made a decision," she said. "And they're sending us." Aiden nodded. He had expected that. "A small fleet? 3 ships. Recon only. We go to the signal's origin, confirm the source, and return. And if it's real?" he asked quietly. "Then we bring back proof," she said. "And pray it's not too late." Aiden looked out into space. "They're calling us, Liara. Someone or something knows who we are." As the ships prepared for departure, technicians loaded the decks, scientists secured their labs, and pilots checked their systems. The engines hummed with low energy, ready to break through the darkness beyond Neptune. Before launch, Aiden recorded a short message for Earth's archive. "If this is the last transmission from Fleet 1, let it be known we went to seek the truth. And if we don't return, remember, it was humanity that answered the call." At the same time, far away near Jupiter, a faint movement stirred in the dark. The old satellite, the one that sent the message, turned again, slowly, as if watching the human ships prepare. Then its lights flickered once more, and a new signal began to transmit, softer, deeper, colder. But this time the message was different. This time the voice spoke clearly, almost human, but filled with something ancient. "They are coming." "You shouldn't have answered." The signal cut to static. The stars above the satellite dimmed for a second, as if a shadow passed across them. Then silence. On Earth, Aiden received one final data burst before launch. It was a short visual, a blurred image hidden in the last few seconds of the SOS file. He zoomed in. At first it looked like static. Then it took shape, a symbol, a human handprint. Scorched into metal. Under it, 3 simple words appeared in faint light. "We were here." Aiden's eyes narrowed. He whispered to himself, "Who are you?" No answer came. Only the endless echo of the message repeating through the stars. "Help fleet, destroyed enemy coming," and with that, the Horizon's engines roared to life, rising slowly from Earth's orbit, heading straight toward the unknown. As the fleet disappeared into the black, the old satellite near Jupiter blinked one last time. This time no one saw that another light, much larger and red, blinked back. The Horizon and her sister ships, Eclipse 1 and Voyager, waited in Earth's orbit, engines silent, crews ready, eyes fixed on the stars. But on the ground far below, humanity was in chaos. News had spread. A signal from deep space, a message asking for help. And maybe a warning. Some called it a miracle. Others whispered it was the beginning of the end. Inside the United Earth Council chamber, a storm of voices filled the vast hall. Holograms of officials from every nation flickered above the long silver table. Scientists, military leaders, and politicians argued, their faces pale in the blue light. Commander Aiden Cross stood in the center, calm but tense. His report had shaken everyone. "The signal came from an unknown satellite near Jupiter," he said. "It carries a human DNA pattern. Whoever sent it is, or was, connected to us." Councillor Raina Holt, a strict woman with sharp eyes, slammed her hand on the table. "So you're suggesting we have lost humans living with aliens?" Aiden nodded slowly. "Possibly. Maybe descendants of an old mission. Maybe survivors taken long ago." Another councillor, old and tired, shook his head. "Or maybe it's a trick. Maybe something out there wants us to come." The room fell silent. Aiden looked at them one by one. "With respect, councillors, if someone or something out there knows about us, we can't hide. If it's real, we must investigate. If it's a trap, we need to know who set it." Raina crossed her arms. "And risk sending our best ships into deep space to chase a ghost?" Aiden replied, steady and cold, "Better to face the ghost than wait for it to knock on our door." Outside the chamber, scientists were working non-stop. Dr. Hannah Sorrell and her team studied the signal again. Deep within the code, they found patterns that looked like memory fragments, sound waves, images, maybe even voices. One file played a distorted audio, screams, engines, something burning, then a faint whisper. "We saw the light die." "They are coming for your son." Hannah's hands shook. She turned to her assistant. "That's not interference. That's a memory." The assistant frowned. "But how?" "The message came from a machine." She stared at the screen. "Maybe the machine remembers." Back in the council room, arguments continued. Some believed the SOS was a trap from hostile aliens. Others thought it was a call from allies who once saved humanity in the past. A few, the old believers, even said it might be a divine sign. Finally, the president of Earth, Admiral Serin Ward, stood up. His voice was calm but heavy. "Enough. We have 2 choices. Stay here and wonder or go and see." "Commander Cross, Prepare the horizon. The Council authorizes a limited mission. 3 ships only. Reconnaissance. You go, you find the source, and you come back. Aiden nodded. Understood, sir. But remember, Seren added, if it's a trap, you don't fight, you run. As Aiden left the chamber, Liara caught up with him in the corridor. Well, she said, well, you got what you wanted. Not what I wanted, Aiden replied. What we needed. She raised an eyebrow. You really think someone out there sent this to us? After all these years? He looked through the glass wall at the stars. I don't know, Liara, but I feel it. Someone's waiting. That night, the Council's secret security channel buzzed with encrypted reports. Something had happened near Neptune's outer orbit, a strange movement, like a shadow blocking starlight. Astronomers reported fluctuations in light patterns, as if something massive was reflecting sunlight but wasn't visible on radar. When Aiden saw the data, his blood ran cold. Could it be the same source? He asked Hannah. Hannah nodded. Possibly. Or it's something moving toward the signal's origin. Aiden stared at the blackness of the display. Then we're already being watched. 3 days later, the fleet launched. The Horizon led the formation, followed by the Voyager and Eclipse 1. Families of crew members gathered in the observation bays, watching the ships rise like silver arrows against the darkness. Lights flashed across their hulls as the engines came alive. Aiden's final broadcast echoed across Earth's network. This is Commander Aiden Cross of Fleet 1. We are departing to investigate the origin of the deep space SOS signal. We carry the hopes of humanity and the strength of our home. If we fail, let our journey be remembered as the day humanity answered the call. The ships vanished into the distance, glowing like tiny comets until even their trails disappeared. Meanwhile, deep inside the Council headquarters, Dr. Hannah stayed alone in the lab. She was still studying the signal when something strange occurred. The signal, which had been steady for days, suddenly changed. A new message appeared, short, clear, terrifying. Do not send them. Her eyes widened. What? Who's sending this? She ran the analysis again. The source came from the same coordinates near Jupiter, the same satellite. But this time, the transmission used Earth's military frequency. A chill ran down her spine. Someone, or something, had access to their own channels. She tried to contact Commander Cross, but his fleet was already beyond transmission range. She whispered into the empty lab. Aiden, it knows we're coming. In space. The Horizon cruised through the silent dark. Aiden stood at the observation window, watching the stars stretch into long silver lines as the ship moved at faster than light speed. He thought about Earth, the Council, Hannah, his family, and then he remembered the last words from the signal. Before they find you, he frowned. Who are they? Liara approached, holding a data pad. Sir, you should see this. One of our long-range probes just vanished. It stopped transmitting after crossing the Kuiper Belt. How? Aiden asked. She hesitated. It didn't explode. It just disappeared. Like something swallowed the signal. The commander didn't speak for a moment. Then quietly he said, stay on course. We find the truth, no matter what waits for us. Far behind them, unseen by any sensor, a dark shape drifted through the void. Its surface was smooth and black like glass. It made no sound, no light, only a faint pulse that matched the SOS signal's rhythm. It followed them, and as it moved, a whisper carried across the stars, not in sound, but in thought. The humans answered. The harvest begins. The 3 ships, Horizon, Voyager, and Eclipse 1, moved silently through deep space. Behind them, Earth was now a tiny blue dot. Ahead of them, only endless darkness. Commander Aiden Cross stood on the bridge of the Horizon, staring at the glowing map of their route. They had been traveling for 16 days. No signals, no signs of life, just the soft hum of the engines and the endless black. Captain Liara Voss walked beside him. We're crossing into the outer Kuiper Belt, Commander. Past this point, there's no recorded data. Aiden nodded. Then this is where the real journey begins. He turned to the crew. Activate stealth mode. No transmissions, no signals. We go dark from here. The lights on the bridge dimmed. The stars outside seemed to fade too, as if even light didn't want to follow them anymore. For the first few hours, everything was calm. Then strange things started happening. Sensors began to flicker, not with errors, but with ghost readings. 1 second the radar was clear, the next it showed hundreds of moving dots. Then nothing. Communications started to crackle, filled with whispers and static. At first, the crew thought it was interference, but when the whispers turned into words, they froze. "Turn back!" The voice was soft, almost like a child's, but it came from deep inside the comm system, from a channel that wasn't open. Lieutenant Harper, the communications officer, looked terrified. "Sir, the voice, it's using our encryption code. How is that possible?" Liara asked. "It's coming from inside our signal range," Harper replied, shaking. "But there's nothing there." Aiden's jaw tightened. "Record everything." No responses. "Keep moving." As they went deeper, stars began to disappear. It was not fog. It was not shadow. It was something else. A black region of space where even starlight could not pass through. The scientists called it the Dark Zone. Dr. Hannah Sorel, speaking through the last open data link from Earth, had warned Aiden before departure. If the stars vanish, "Commander, that means you've entered their hunting ground." Now, those words echoed in his mind. After 32 hours inside the Dark Zone, Voyager reported visual contact with debris. Large chunks of metal drifted slowly, rotating in the blackness. Some were glowing faintly red, like burned engines. Aiden ordered all ships to halt. "Bring it on screen," he said. The camera zoomed in. The debris was not human, at least not entirely. It was alien, twisted in strange designs, but parts of it were clearly man-made, earth metal fused with something organic. Liara whispered, "It's like someone combined our ships with theirs." Then, the image focused on something floating among the wreckage. A body. The crew gasped. It was a human body, frozen in the cold of space, wearing an old-style suit with a torn patch. Aiden zoomed closer and the letters became clear. USS Dauntless, mission year 2127. Aiden's heart stopped. The Dauntless had disappeared over 200 years ago, long before faster-than-light travel even existed. How can this be? Liara whispered. No one had an answer. The ship sent drones to collect samples, but as soon as the drones entered the wreckage field, their cameras began to distort. Static black flashes, then silence. The drones vanished. No explosion. No trace. Then Voyager's pilot shouted over comms, "Something's moving out there." The radar screen lit up. A massive object appeared behind the wreckage. It was round, almost the size of a city, and its surface shimmered like glass. "Is it a planet?" Liara asked. Aiden shook his head. "No, it's looking at us." A deep vibration echoed through the ships, like a sound felt more than heard. All systems flickered. Lights dimmed. Then the voice returned through the comms. Louder this time, distorted but human. "Commander, we've been waiting for you." The bridge went silent. Aiden clenched his fists. "Identify that transmission," Harper replied. "Source unknown. But it's using your command ID code." "My code," Aiden said, eyes wide. "That's impossible." The voice came again, closer, almost whispering now. "You came just like before." Liara looked at him. "Sir, we should leave." "No," Aiden said. "Not yet. There's something here. Something that knows us." He ordered a drone team to scan the object. But before they could launch, the Voyager sent an emergency signal. "This is Voyager. We're losing power. Something's draining our reactor." The transmission cut out. The ship's lights vanished from radar. "Get them back," Aiden shouted. "Liara, send rescue probes." Seconds passed. Then a new image appeared on the main screen. The Voyager floated silently in the dark, engines dead, hull frozen solid. But through one of its windows, they could see movement, shapes inside, walking slowly against the light. Liara whispered, "Sir, the crew, they're moving." "No," Aiden said softly. "They're not moving like humans." The shapes turned toward the camera. Their faces were pale, eyes glowing faintly blue. Then in perfect sync, they raised their hands and waved, slowly, as if greeting the horizon. The image cut to black. Silence filled the bridge. Aiden's voice was low. "Prepare the rescue ship." Liara grabbed his arm. "Commander, that's suicide. We don't even know what that thing is." "I can't leave them," he said. "They're my people." She stared at him, fear in her eyes. "Then take me with you," he nodded once. "Suit up." They launched a small shuttle toward the dark ship. The light from their engines barely reached a few meters ahead. As they got closer, the hull of the Voyager appeared. Cold, dead, covered in strange black veins that pulsed slowly like they were alive. Aiden reached for the hatch and stepped inside. The corridor was frozen, silent and dark. His flashlight cut through the mist, revealing walls covered with burn marks and handprints. Liara whispered, "Where is everyone?" Then from the end of the hall a soft sound echoed. Footsteps. A figure stepped forward. A woman wearing a torn uniform, pale as snow. Her eyes glowed faint blue. "Aiden," she said softly. "You came." He froze. His voice trembled. "Who are you?" She smiled sadly. "Don't you remember me? You promised you'd come back." Aiden's chest tightened. That voice, that face. It was his sister, Liara Cross, missing for 20 years, but she couldn't be here. She was gone, dead on Mars Station Alpha. Before he could speak, she stepped closer. "Come home, brother. It's waiting for you." The lights around them flickered. Shadows crawled across the walls, stretching like black hands reaching toward them. Aiden raised his weapon. "Stay back!" She tilted her head. "They're coming, Aiden. They want the light." Then all power died. The screen went black. On the horizon, the crew lost contact with their commander. The last transmission they received was his voice, faint and broken. "This isn't a warning. It's an invitation." Then silence. The horizon drifted alone in the endless dark, surrounded by whispers and shadows, and somewhere beyond the void, something enormous opened its eyes. The horizon floated in darkness, its engines cold, its crew silent. Every second felt heavy like time. Itself had stopped the black clouds around. The ship moved slowly, like living smoke, whispering without sound. Commander Aiden Cross was gone, lost inside. The dead ship Voyager, and no one knew if he was alive or not. Captain Liara Voss took command, her voice calm, but her eyes full of fear. She stood on the bridge, staring into the dark. The last message from Aiden still echoed through her mind. "This isn't a warning, it's an invitation." The crew worked in silence, trying to scan the area, but the instruments kept showing strange readings. Sometimes the radar showed one ship, sometimes hundreds. Sometimes it showed their own reflection, coming toward them like a ghost fleet moving backward. Then suddenly a weak signal broke through, static, faint and broken. It came from the Voyager. The crew jumped from their seats. Voices rose in disbelief. The signal was alive. Someone or something was transmitting from the dead ship. Liara leaned closer to the screen, her voice soft and careful. "Open the channel now." Static burst. Then a voice spoke through the noise, slow and tired but human. "This is Lieutenant Mara Vex, Voyager crew. We survived." Liara froze. She looked at Harper, the comm officer, and whispered, "Survivors." The voice continued, "Life support failing. We found shelter inside another structure attached to the ship. It's not ours, it's alien, but it's keeping us alive." Liara's heartbeat quickened. "Alien structure. What does that mean?" She asked. Mara's voice cracked through again. "You need to see it with your own eyes. It's built from our metal and theirs. It's like our ships were melted together. We didn't build this place. Commander Cross found something inside. He told us to wait. Then he vanished. We can't find him. Please hurry." Liara didn't think twice. She ordered a rescue mission. Minutes later, 2 shuttles left the horizon, drifting carefully through the silent wreck field. Pieces of metal floated around them, some glowing faintly blue like frozen fire. When they reached the Voyager, they saw it. Half of the ship was covered in a black shell, smooth and curved like the skin of a living creature. They entered through a small breach, and what they saw made them forget to breathe inside. The corridors were no longer straight metal lines. They twisted and bent like ribs of a giant creature. Walls pulsed softly like veins carrying light instead of blood. It felt alive. Liara whispered, "This isn't a ship anymore, it's something else." They followed the faint lights deeper until they reached a wide chamber there. They found them the survivors. 5 crew members, pale and thin, sitting near a strange core of glowing silver liquid. It hummed gently, giving warmth and air. Lieutenant Mara Vex stood up. Her face, pale eyes glowing faint blue like Ilara's. She smiled weakly. "You came." Liara looked around. "Where's Commander Cross?" Mara's smile faded. He went inside the core. He said he heard something calling him. We tried to stop him, but he said he saw faces in the light. He said they needed him. Liara stepped closer to the silver core. Its light flickered softly like a heartbeat within the liquid. She thought she saw movement, shadows swimming slowly. Then she heard it, a whisper so soft it could have been her own thought. "Liara, help me." Her breath caught. That was Aiden's voice. The survivors surrounded her quietly. Mara spoke again. "It's connected to him now, the core. It's part of him, and part of them." Liara frowned them. Mara's expression darkened. "The ones who built this place, the ones who destroyed our world. We called them the Eclipsers. They feed on light and sound. They consume energy. They took us long ago, made us fight in their wars. They made us like this, half human, half machine, half something else." Liara stared in shock. "Half human," she whispered. Mara nodded slowly. "We sent the SOS, not just to ask for help, but to warn you. They are coming for Earth. The signal you followed wasn't only a cry for help, it was bait. They want your world to light the sky again." Before Liara could speak, the lights around them dimmed. The core pulsed faster. The walls began to tremble. A low hum filled the chamber. Harper shouted through comms. "Captain Sensors picking up movement outside. Something's coming toward the ship." Liara turned to Mara. "Get your people ready. We're leaving." Mara looked at her sadly. "We can't leave the core. Won't let us." The hum turned into a deep rumble. The silver. The core began to open, splitting slowly like a flower, and from inside, a figure stepped out, glowing faint blue eyes, cold but human. It was Aiden. Liara gasped. "Aiden, you're alive." He looked at her, his voice calm and strange. "I saw everything, Liara. Their worlds, their war, their hunger. They want our son. They will find Earth." She reached for him. "Aiden, we have to go now." He shook his head. "No, not yet. The core is alive. It can stop them for now, but it needs energy. I can hold it, but you must go warn Earth. Tell them they're not ready." Liara's eyes filled with tears. "You can't stay here alone." He smiled faintly. "I'm not alone." Behind him, the survivors stepped into the light, their bodies glowing, merging with the core one by one, until only Aiden remained. His voice echoed through the ship. "Take the data. Take the truth. Tell them the fleet wasn't destroyed. It was transformed." The light around him flared blinding bright, and the next moment he was gone. The core closed, silent once more. Liara stood frozen. Tears rolling down her face, she whispered, "Goodbye, Commander," then turned to her team. "Get the data drive and move." They returned to the horizon, carrying a small crystal core glowing faintly with the same blue light. The scientists began scanning it, and what they found made every heart on board go still. The core contained maps, coordinates of hundreds of destroyed worlds, and one more terrifying detail: the Eclipsers were already moving toward Earth. As the horizon prepared to return home, Liara stood at the observation deck, watching the dark zone fade behind them. She whispered softly into the comm, "We heard your call, Commander Cross, and we'll carry your message." Behind them in the distance, the dead ship Voyager slowly vanished into the mist, its surface glowing once, then turning black again, as if sinking into an endless sea. And far beyond the dark, something enormous opened like a mouth, swallowing the light itself. The survivors were gone, but their warning remained. The Horizon drifted silently through the cold dark on its way home to Earth, engines glowing faint blue, like the last heartbeat of a dying star inside the ship. Everything looked calm, but something had changed. The silence was different, heavier. Darker, Captain. Liara Voss stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the black glass of the observation window. The stars ahead looked pale, like fading memories behind her. The crew worked quietly. No laughter, no small talk, only the sound of systems breathing like machines dreaming in their sleep. They had escaped the dark zone, but not the fear it carried with them. The crystal core from the alien wreck sat sealed in the research bay, glowing softly like an eye that refused to close. Dr. Hannah Sorrell studied it. For hours, her face lit by the eerie light. She whispered to herself again and again, "It's alive, it's not a machine, it's something thinking." Liara came to her side. "What do you mean alive?" Hannah turned to her voice, shaking. "It reacts to our energy. Our presence, when someone looks at it, it changes shape, it listens." Liara felt a cold shiver run down her spine. "Destroy it," Hannah whispered. "No, we can't. If we do, we lose everything. Commander Cross gave his life for this." Liara nodded, but deep down, she felt something watching her, something inside the ship, breathing with them. Days passed. Strange things began happening. Crew members reported seeing reflections move on their own screens, flickered with ghostly faces. Voices whispered names in the dark. When Liara asked the AI system to check for malfunctions, it replied in a slow, soft voice, "There are no malfunctions. Captain, only memories." That night, Engineer Jonas went missing. His tools were found floating near the engine bay. The cameras showed nothing except his own reflection, standing still. Even when he had already walked away, Liara gathered her officers. "Something's wrong with the ship." "She said something followed us," Harper whispered. "It's the Eclipsers. They're inside the signal." Liara stared at him. "How do you know?" he replied, his voice trembling. "Because I saw them in my dream. The black light, the same sound the core makes. They're trying to wake up." Alarms suddenly blared. Red lights filled the corridors. The AI spoke. Again, voice calm and cold, an energy surge detected near the research bay. Source unknown. Liara ran through the corridors, her boots echoing like drumbeats. When she reached the bay, the door was open, and Hannah was inside, staring at the core, her eyes wide, glowing faint blue. Liara shouted, "Hannah, step back." She didn't move. She whispered softly, "They're speaking to me." "Liara, they said Aiden is alive. They said he's coming home." Liara grabbed her arm. "Hannah, wake up." She shook violently. The light from the core flared, blinding bright. The glass walls cracked, and a low hum filled the air. A shadow spread across the room like smoke moving against gravity, whispering thousands of voices together. "Help us, help us, help us." Liara pulled Hannah away. The soldiers sealed the room, but the shadow didn't stop. It slipped through cracks like mist into the vents, spreading through the ship lights, flickered. The temperature dropped. The AI voice distorted, repeating the same phrase, "The reflection moves first. The reflection moves first." Fear gripped the crew. No one trusted anyone. People whispered that the person next to them might not be human anymore, that the Eclipsers could copy faces, mimic voices, even memories. Liara knew panic would kill them faster than any monster. She called the crew to the main deck, her voice firm, steady, even as fear crawled in her chest. "Listen to me," she said. "Whatever's inside, this ship wants chaos. We won't give it that. Stay together, stay alert. If you see something that looks like me, don't hesitate to shoot." Silence filled the bridge. Only the hum of the engines answered. Then Harper's console beeped. "Commander, incoming transmission. It's from Earth." Liara turned open it. The hologram flickered. Admiral Serin Ward appeared, his face pale behind him. The Earth glowed blue and Bright like a jewel in space. He spoke quickly. Liara, you must return now. Our satellites are picking up strange readings near the moon. Multiple unknown objects approaching. We think it's them. Before Liara could answer, static filled the screen. The Admiral's voice broke into noise. Then a new voice whispered through the channel, cold, slow and familiar. We told you not to send them. Every light on the horizon died, engines silent, screens black. The ship floated in the void for a long moment. There was no sound, only breathing and heartbeat. Then from the dark corridor behind the bridge came a faint sound of footsteps, slow, heavy and uneven, like someone walking through water. Liara raised her weapon. Who's there? A figure stepped into the dim blue emergency light. It was Aiden Cross, his uniform torn, his eyes glowing faint blue. Liara couldn't speak. She whispered, Aiden, how? He smiled, but it wasn't a human smile. You brought them home. Liara, they wanted the light and you showed them the way. The crew backed away, weapons shaking. Liara took one slow step forward. Aiden, if you can hear me, fight it, please. He tilted his head like listening to something unseen and whispered, they're already here. Then every window on the horizon turned. White outside, space itself rippled, shapes appeared like shadows of enormous creatures swimming through starlight. Hundreds of them closing in around the ship, their bodies absorbing light, their eyes glowing. Red Liara shouted to the crew battle stations. Now fire everything we have. Weapons roared, beams of light cut through the dark, but the creatures didn't burn. They absorbed the fire, feeding on it, growing brighter, hungrier. Hana screamed, they're feeding on energy. Stop firing now, Liara realized. Too late, the horizon's power levels dropped rapidly, the engines fading, the core pulsing violently, like a heart ready to burst. She looked at Aiden one last time. What do they want? He stepped closer, eyes like frozen stars, to become you. Then everything went black. The horizon drifted through the endless black, its lights flickering like dying stars around it. The shadows of the Eclipsers moved slow, graceful and deadly, their bodies rippling through space like liquid night. The crew watched in silence, hearts pounding, knowing Earth was just beyond that thin line of blue light. Far ahead, Captain Liara Voss stood at the bridge, her face pale but steady, her voice calm, even as fear crawled in every breath. We can't outrun them, she said. We fight here. We buy time for Earth. To prepare. The crew nodded, though their eyes showed the truth. They knew this could be their last day. The AI voice spoke low and broken, power levels critical, main reactors unstable. Liara looked at Harper, the comms officer. Sent warning to Earth. Now tell them to ready the orbital fleet. Tell them the darkness is coming. Harper tried to transmit, but the screen filled with static. The Eclipsers are jamming all signals, Captain. We're cut off. Outside, the creatures circled. Closer their forms, twisting between shapes, sometimes solid, sometimes like smoke. One touched the ship's hull, and the metal turned black like ash, spreading fast across the panels. Engineer Hana Sorel shouted from below deck, "It's eating the ship's power like a parasite. It's alive through energy, not matter. Every beam we fire feeds it." Liara gritted her teeth. "Then we use what it wants against it," she said. "Prepare the solar drives. Overload them." Hana stared. "Are you insane? That could tear us." "Apart," Liara whispered, "better us than Earth." The crew worked fast, sweat dripping, faces lit by red emergency lights. The hum of the engines grew deeper, louder, like thunder in their bones. Harper whispered, "Captain, they're everywhere, hundreds maybe, thousands." Liara nodded, eyes fixed on the main screen. "Then we'll show them what humanity looks like when cornered." She opened the intercom, voice steady to all hands. "This is Captain Liara Voss. The Eclipsers think they can take our light. They think they can devour our world. They're wrong. We stand here at the edge of Earth and we fight." A roar filled the ship crew, shouting, readying weapons as power surged through the horizon. The solar drives began to glow, white heat, building pressure rising. Numbers flashing red on every screen. Outside, the darkness moved. The Eclipsers rushed forward like a storm of shadows, wings stretching across the void, their screams shaking space itself. Hannah yelled, critical point in 10 seconds, Liara whispered. Hold, hold, hold. The ship shook violently, the hull cracking like glass light spilling through every seam. Aiden's voice echoed through the comm, deep and hollow. You can't stop them, Liara. They are endless. She closed her eyes, whispered maybe, but they've never met us. She slammed her hand on the console now. The horizon erupted like a small sunlight bursting outward in a wave brighter than dawn. The Eclipsers shrieked, their bodies melting into shadow dust. The blast spread wide, pushing them, back tearing holes through their ranks for a moment. The darkness screamed and burned, and there was only light inside. The ship alarms blared, systems failing, temperature rising. Liara shouted, Hannah status. Hannah coughed through smoke reactor meltdown. Imminent, we can't hold it, Captain. She turned to the window. Earth hung there, beautiful and silent, blue oceans glowing like memory. She smiled softly, whispering, at least they'll see the light. Then the explosion came soundless in the vacuum of space. A wave of white washed across the horizon, then vanished, leaving only silence. From Earth's orbit, the defense fleet watched the bright flash fade. Their screens filled with static, then a signal broke through, weak and broken, a single voice. Liara's whisper, for the light for humanity. Then nothing. The Eclipsers scattered, wounded, their main swarm, retreating into the dark. But deep inside, the shadows' movement stirred their leader. An enormous shape, with wings of fireless black, opened. Its eyes glowing red and cold, it spoke in a voice that echoed across the void. Find their world, consume their sun. Leave no light behind. Back on Earth, alarms rang across command centers. Admiral Serin Ward stood, frozen eyes fixed on the data horizons. Signal gone. Liara's last message, repeating on loop. He turned to his officers, prepare the fleet. The war has begun. In the night sky, people on Earth saw the explosion like a new star appearing, then fading. They didn't know what it meant, but some whispered it looked like a sign, like hope. Among the wreckage floating silent, a single piece of the horizon drifted slowly, a small data crystal, glowing faint blue. The same light as Aiden's eyes inside it. A voice whispered, soft and distant, we're not gone, we're changing, and far beyond the edge of light in the ruins of the dark zone, a flicker appeared, a human shape forming from shadow eyes, glowing faint blue, whispering one word. Earth, Earth, hung in silence beneath the stars, the blue planet. Turning slowly under a sky that was no longer calm, fragments of the horizon still glowed faint above the atmosphere, drifting like ghosts of light. People on the ground saw them at night, tiny sparks burning, then fading, and they whispered that someone up there had saved them. In orbit, the defense fleet gathered, hundreds of ships, ready engines burning, bright commanders shouting orders across open channels. Admiral Serin Ward stood at the central deck of the flagship, his face hard, his voice steady. We stand for them, he said, for those who gave their light so we could still see the dawn. But in the dark beyond the moon, something moved. The remains of the shattered gate pulsed faint red and then dimmed, as if something within had survived, deep. Inside the ruins of the gate, energy gathered, twisting, forming a shape, half shadow, half light. A figure stepped out, moving slowly like it remembered how to be alive. His eyes glowed faint blue, his voice soft and calm. Aiden Cross. He looked around. The wreckage hearing whispers of 1,000 voices. The Eclipser hive broken, but not gone, fragments of their mind, still speaking through the dark. They had changed him. His body part, machine part, light part. Something beyond human. He could feel the pulse of the universe in his veins, but his heart still beat for one world, for Earth. He whispered to the emptiness, Liara, your fight isn't over, and neither is mine, back on Earth. Liara's name became legend, her message played on every channel for the light for humanity. People built hope from her words. Scientists studied the alien fragments that fell from orbit. Their energy, unlike anything known, it healed. It powered it, connected, and within that new power, humanity saw a chance not to run, but to rise. Months passed. The fleet grew stronger. New ships born from the wreckage mixed with alien tech, glowing with the same blue veins that once ran through the horizon. They called them Defenders of Light. Admiral Ward stood before the new fleet. Watching as each ship powered up their engines, forming a halo around Earth, he whispered, "Liara, you would have been proud." But deep in the shadows of space, Aiden felt the movement again. The Eclipsers were not dead, only sleeping pieces of their hive. Spreading like infection across broken systems, he saw them feeding on wrecks, growing, whispering a single word: return. He knew they would come again, stronger, smarter, endless, unless he stopped them. He closed his eyes, feeling the last connection to the horizon's core still alive inside him. He reached through it and called out to the AI that once guided their ship. "Horizon, do you hear me?" The voice answered, faint, soft, and familiar. "I am here." Commander Aiden spoke. "The gate isn't destroyed, only broken. We can use it not to invade, but to seal them forever." Horizon replied, "Such action will consume you." He smiled faintly. "It already has." He gathered the fragments of energy around him, the light that once destroyed the Eclipser fleet now. Bending to his will, the gate began to rebuild, twisting into a spiral of blue and white energy, forming a sphere that pulsed like a heart. The light grew brighter, spreading through space, lighting the sky. Over Earth, ships turned sensors, flaring readings. Off the scale. Admiral Ward shouted, "What is that signal?" Someone whispered. "It's him, the commander. He's alive in the heart of the storm." Aiden stood, his body glowing. Brighter and brighter he spoke, through every frequency, through every comm, through every whisper of the void. "Humanity, this is our last stand. You are the light they cannot consume, remember." "Do you are?" The Eclipser fragments woke, red eyes flickering. Across the void, the swarm rose again, screaming through space like a living wave moving. Toward the light, Aiden raised his hands, light bursting. From him like wings, he whispered softly. "Liara, for you." The two forces collided, the swarm and the darkness trying to swallow the glow fighting to burn. The explosion lit the solar system brighter than the sun for a moment, then faded into silence. When the light cleared, the swarm was gone. The gate sealed, the dark quiet again. In orbit, the fleet floated, silent, systems recovering. Static filled the comms. Then a faint voice broke through, soft, calm, proud Aiden's voice. "The path is closed, the light remains, guarded well." Then the signal faded. Years passed. Earth rebuilt under a sky full of quiet stars, cities powered by the same alien energy they once feared. People lived under the legend of the horizon and the man who became the last light of humanity. And sometimes, when the night was clear, if you looked long enough at the edge of the moon, you could see it, a faint blue shimmer like the heartbeat of a star, whispering across the void a promise that even in the deepest dark the light endures.